Could Tupac still be alive?
A lot of headlines over the past 24 hours after he claimed on Instagram that Tupac was still alive and living in Malaysia.
Do you want to win any of these items on your screen? If so, be sure to watch the whole video, leave a like, and comment the hidden message. And with that being said, let's get right into the video. On September 13th, 1996, Tupac Shakur was taken from the world in a very dramatic fashion. Or was he? Sure, there are many who say that Tupac is still gone, but there's still plenty of mysteries about what really went down that night. Be sure to give the video a like and subscribe to King Trending. Number 7. The Seventh Theory. Let's start off with one of the crazier theories as to why Tupac is still alive. And by crazy, I mean it's, can't you see the connections and the dots kind of thing, you dig? For Tupac's passing, that would be the Seventh Theory. This particular odd theory states that too many of the key details of the case have a connection to the number 7. If you're familiar with the 23 theory, it's kind of like that. Starting off with the fact that while he officially passed on the 13th of September, he was actually hit on the 7th. What was his age when he passed? 25. Then if you include the 7th or the 13th of the date, it was actually a week after he was gone. Plus, he was officially pronounced gone at 4:03. 4 plus 3 is 7, right? Oh, but if you want to throw in another convenient match, Tupac's birthday was on the 16th. 6 plus 1, 7. So what does this all spell out for you when you put it all together? The truth is, we really don't know. That's why this one is, well, a true conspiracy theory. Even ones who have pointed it out don't even know what it means. Which is why I just wanted to mention it first, because unlike the certain other theories out there about Tupac, this one honestly is just gibberish. Again, if you look hard enough at any situation that happens to involve numbers, you're going to find a pattern. Now, if Tupac's favorite number was 7, or he used to wear the number 7 all the time, this might mean something, but I don't think he did either. Besides that, you usually associate the number 7 with a lucky number, which wasn't the case here with Tupac. Number 6. Tupac's music.
We'd all like to officially welcome Tupac Shakur into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
This one is a very compelling theory as to why Tupac might still be alive. And that's simply the fact that a ton of Tupac's music was released after he passed. Now granted, in recent years, people like X have seen post-mortem releases.
So again, let's make some noise for him. You feel me? And let's have fun for him.
And that's to be expected of hardworking rappers. But in the case of Tupac, whole albums were released post-mortem. Not just 1 or 2, but several, long after he was gone, and many of them sold over 1 million copies. So how is that Tupac had all of this music before his death? The official word that is backed up by his friends is that Tupac was the hardest working man in rap, to the extent that he would be in record studios singing songs and tracks even if he didn't like the result. And that's logical to an extent, but 5 official albums and 1 streamed. That's a lot of content, even for Tupac, which led many to believe that Tupac is still alive and putting these new songs under his post-mortem pieces to throw off the scent that he's still alive. Then again, his last album, the streamed one, was released in 2010, and no one has heard from him since, right? Number 5. Tupac is in Malaysia.
Say what up to him, Pop.
So let's just say for a second, just to argue the point, that Tupac is alive. The biggest question would be, where is he now? Right, because he'd have to be in a place where he can avoid attention and prying eyes. Well, one such notion where he is comes from the son of a driver that Tupac had when he got hit, Suge Knight Jr. According to him, Tupac is alive and well in Malaysia, and even provided photo proof of him and Tupac hanging out in Malaysia. Malaysia, right there? Well, there's a reason, trust me. It's well known that Tupac was caught in a big feud with rappers on the East Coast and the West Coast. This was, in fact, the most dangerous feud in rap history, and it claimed many lives, including Tupac's friend and rap brother, Notorious B.I.G., who passed away a few years previous. Thus, Tupac faked his own passing and fled the country so that not only could he live his life in peace, but he wouldn't have to worry about his rivals coming out to get him, which in a sense makes total sense. And Malaysia is quite a distant place from the United States, and even if they found out he was alive there, it takes some effort to get there. The only problem with this theory is that the picture that is proof of Tupac's life has been debunked by the Daily Express, as the photo was from a YouTube video in 2015 that said Tupac was in Cuba. So, wait, does this mean that number 4, Tupac is in Cuba? Well, you're just jumping from country to country. Oh, that's what you're thinking, right? But when you dig a bit deeper into this particular conspiracy theory, you'll see that there's a lot more to this than meets the eye, and it's actually very compelling. This comes from the rapper named Treach, who was asked about where Tupac was and whether he was really gone. Treach answered without blinking an eye. Last time I saw him, he was in Cuba, man. When was this question posted? 2010, 14 years after Tupac was gone. So what could it mean? Was he lying, like what Suge Knight Jr. did? Or maybe you might just have to ask a question, why hide in Cuba? Well, it's something that can be explained in a very logical way. You see, Tupac has and had an odd name, Assata Shakur. She was part of the Black Liberation Army and was charged with a felony, but her BLA members broke her out of jail and smuggled her into Cuba, where she is now under the law of political asylum. Look it up. It's a very real thing that happened. Anyway, she's been there since 1984, 12 years before her nephew's passing. So if Tupac wanted to get out of the country, there's a good chance that his aunt knew of a way to get him into Cuba without prying eyes, especially if those same eyes were focused on a passing and not a runaway. The Cuba theory is one conspiracy theory surrounding Tupac that many believe in. What's more, there have been many testimonies and pictures saying that Tupac is in Cuba, and one picture that even had him at a bar with singer Rihanna, which proves that more people know that he's alive than we think, if the picture's true. And many think that it isn't, but some very much believe that it is. Plus, given the fact that Tupac wouldn't be able to take much with him after his passing if done right, why fly a long ways away when you can just go to a country just south of the country that you already live in now? Number 3. Suge Knight.
The last word is always God, but Pac saved my life. The reason why I say Pac saved my life.
If you're looking for something that doesn't really make sense about the death of Tupac, you need to look no further than the events surrounding his passing, as there are conflicting evidence and testimony about what truly happened. A big reason for this lack of cooperation and proof about what happened was because of Suge Knight that night. Suge Knight was the only person in the car with Tupac before the drive-by shooting. In fact, Tupac, minutes before driving into what would be his passing, Tupac asked his bodyguard and girlfriend to get out of the car that he and Suge Knight were in, and to get into a separate car. Why would he do that? Did he know something was about to happen? Did he believe that they needed to be separated at that moment? There's a lot of mysteries around that decision. Moving on, when the drive-by shooting took place, 14 bullets were fired into the car, and Suge got hit by none of them. Think about it. Tupac and Suge Knight were sitting side by side. 14 bullets pierced through that car, and only Tupac got hit. Technically, one bullet did graze Suge, apparently, but that's even more suspicious. How could only one bullet have hit him? And yet, Tupac got the blunt end of it and passed away. Bullets can rip through a human's body and keep on going. Suge Knight is not a small man like Tupac kind of was. So the idea that he might have been spared in terms of not getting hit is just odd. It may be even seen as ludicrous, but it goes even deeper than that. For when the police asked about the shooting, Suge was very evasive, refusing to answer questions. Now you might be thinking, come on, you know what it was like between the police and rappers back in those days, so why should he even cooperate? And you're right, it would have been fully odd to cooperate, but if your friend was taken and they are honestly asking you what happened, wouldn't you at least give the basic details and try to get info yourself on what happened? Yet that's still not at all what happened. When it came to his belief in Tupac being gone, Suge Knight was definitively denying it, stating that when I left the hospital, me and Pac was laughing and joking. I don't see how someone could turn from doing well to doing bad. As if that wasn't enough, after proclaiming that Tupac was alive in 2014, he was later hit multiple times. Someone trying to silence him, perhaps? Who knows? He was so confident in his claims that he went onto a show featuring Ice-T and said that he believes that Tupac is still alive. It'd be hard to believe that he's lying after staying so strong in his convictions for so long, but not everyone is strong in their belief that Tupac is still alive, including another friend of his, the legendary Snoop Dogg, where he said to Steve Harvey once, "My homeboy is resting in peace," Snoop Dogg added. I know people still want him to be here and they love him so much to where his legacy overwhelms everything, but you've got to understand, when God takes you home, he takes you home. Personally, I trust Snoop Dogg over Suge Knight, but there's no denying that something fishy went on with Suge Knight, and many see him as definitive evidence that Tupac is still alive, but that's not the only thing. Number 2, where is the bulletproof vest? In the world of rap in the 90s, it was a very violent place, as proven by the deaths of Tupac and Biggie Smalls. Tupac himself had been hit 2 years previously. Because of this, he became very paranoid about his health and safety. Not only did he hire bodyguards to ensure that he was protected, but he also wore a bulletproof vest. In fact, Tupac was very well respected because of his bulletproof vest, as it showed that he was not a fool when it came to the danger that he was in. And yet on that night, when he got hit, the bulletproof vest was nowhere to be found. It's easy to think that he just forgot it, except when it came to the vest, he never forgot it, especially when he had to go to places that were incredibly public and full of danger. That night, he was going to a Mike Tyson fight, and given the time period, not only would that place be packed, but security wouldn't be as tight as it would be right now. Not to mention, he would have had to leave his car to walk to the arena, which is plenty of time to get taken out by a rival member. So there's no way that Tupac would have willingly forgotten his vest when he had that much exposure, and yet the vest was never found. At worst, he could have worn it inside the event, but he sure as heck would have worn it at night when he was getting returning back to his car. Plus, remember, Tupac also sent his bodyguards away before driving off with Suge Knight, and what would be his final ride alive. So he didn't wear the one thing he knew he needed to wear, and he rode it in a car with one person as backup and no one around him to watch his back. That really doesn't sound like Tupac, does it? Number 1. Memorial. And now for the main event. The biggest mystery about what happened to Tupac is not about what happened before he passed or during the attack that would claim his life, but rather after he passed away. After he was declared gone the very next day, he was cremated, which is very quick when you think about it. The service was held soon after, and Suge Knight himself paid $3 million to ensure that no one else could see Tupac's ashes or be allowed in without an invitation, thus keeping the circle of silence rather complete. Now yes, many families actually do this to honor the dead, and Suge & Co. could have done the same, but on the reports of the cremation, the cremator listed Tupac as being taller and heavier than he actually was. Now you can forgive an inch or two of height, it's all relative, but the difference in weight was 53 pounds. That's a big jump. Clearly an error that would need to be double checked, but it gets even better. Once the service was done, the cremator retired and has never been seen or heard from again. Yes, yet another oddly convenient thing. That's oddly convenient, as he was the only one to see Tupac's body cremated. Furthermore, there was supposed to be a public viewing of the body that was meant to be used for fans to pay tribute to the singer. It was canceled very suddenly before a single person could view the body. So technically, the only person who ever saw Tupac's body were Suge Knight and the cremator. That's a lot of factors that really don't add up, don't you think? A private ceremony? Okay. A canceled public one that was literally canceled at the last minute? Yeah, sure, why not? Cremator doing the report disappearing the day after the ceremony? What? Since he's ashes, we can't really prove it was him, and given that only a few people ever saw him after his passing, it could be true that Tupac is really alive out there somewhere. So you tell me, is Tupac gone or is he still alive? And so which of these theories help sway you to one side or the other? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe and I'll see you next time on King Trending.
A simple reminder on how to enter our brand new giveaway. We will be giving away either an iPhone X Max, the new iPad mini, or a MacBook Pro. It's really your choice. So be sure to leave a like, comment the keyword, subscribe, and turn on notifications to enter the giveaway. It's really that simple. Go for it.